Hello everybody, welcome back to another review with Board Game Nation. I'm going to go through my thoughts on Imperial Settlers. Great kind of civilization card game. If you want to see how to play, there's a video of that, so check in the notes and you can click on that to see that. Or there are two run-through videos where I kind of do the first two rounds of the game. So you can check out that to see if you want to have a better feel of how the game plays. So let's talk about Imperial Settlers. Let's go through, I don't want to give anything away, but let's go through the theme. The theme is basically you are the empire. There's a couple of different empires. There's the barbarians, there's the Egyptians, the Romans, and the Japanese. And they all play wildly different, and you basically have a deck of cards that is your faction deck, and there's 30 cards in there, and there you will have special cards that are just for you that play wildly different than anybody else else's faction deck. So and you're building this empire, and it does really come alive. You know, you have these two sides of the board where you've got common cards, which everybody can get, and then your faction cards, and you have to destroy your regular cards to build your faction cards. And the artwork is, I really like the artwork. The artwork's really nice. It's really pretty. It's kind of funny and jovial, and it's great. These little people running around cutting wood and, you know, building huts, and that's kind of what I feel when you play it. And when you do play these cards like the pyramids, you feel like, yes, this pyramid is going to allow me to, you know, do you know, something. I mean, one of my favorite cards in the Egyptian deck is this card. It's the Sphinx, and it allows you to get one extra point when you get 2 points. And it's thematic. Like, it does make sense. Like, you built a big giant statue. It's huge, and you know, it's going to make, you know, it's definitely going to give you victory points. Where the other things like the stone yard's going to give you stone. It does, you know, really have this feel of building. Timeline, let's go into timeline. It does take about an hour and a half, I would say. 2 hours if you're teaching. That's as long as it's going to go. I would say you could probably bang this out in an hour if everybody knew how to play and you were just like sitting down, let's go, let's play a game. You could definitely do it. AP prone, maybe. Yeah, I mean, any game that has thick, you know, juicy decisions in it, like this game, there's definitely going to be some of that, but really, I think it can go pretty quickly. Every person has on their turn, they can do one action, so it can go around the table pretty quickly. Okay, mechanisms. Well, the mechanisms in this game are amazing. It kind of reminds me of Nations. I know a lot of people say no, it doesn't. Well, to me it does. There's 3 basic different types of cards in the game. There's the production. Every round you're going to build up this production, and you're going to get all your resources, and you're going to have this pile of resources, and it's all good, and then you're going to spend them to build more buildings. There's another set of cards that are going to give you special abilities, and it's great. Like, every time I destroy a building, I'm going to get a victory point, right? Every time I build another, you know, military building, I'm going to, you know, get another sword or a raise token, right? And so on and so forth. The other cards are action cards, so you can put guys on. It's like, oh, I'm taking this guy, and he's going to go to the well and, you know, do something at the well, or, you know, or sorry, go to the the guild and get some gold, right? So that's kind of thematic. I really like the mechanisms in it. I really love having a game where you get stuff and as an income, and the income really depends on what you have personally, and it's going to be different for every other person playing the game. And that's great. That means you're building an economy, and I love that feeling. I love, you know, that. I also like building my towns and villages and this. And this doesn't. This doesn't in spades. Maybe not as much as Nations. It has a bit of a different feel, but it's much faster. It's a little comical. It's cute. And I really, really enjoy it quite a bit when it comes to the mechanisms. The good points. Well, the good points of this game is, I mean, it's fantastic art. It's beautifully laid out. It's well designed. It is fairly quick for how much depth it has. And there's a lot to think about. There's a lot to crunch on. Every game is going to be very interesting. And the very cool thing about this game is that they're going to be bringing out a lot of cool expansions. And not just, oh, well, we've got this perfect game like Agricole and we're just going to... Well, actually, that's a bit different. Like, what's a good game that they put an expansion out for that really didn't need it? I don't know. Well, there's a couple of them out there. Like Brussels, I guess, or is it Bruges? Yeah, Bruges, or Tolkien, the Mayan calendar, I think it is. Those games, like, I mean, they're great as a whole. They work well. They didn't really need anything else. This game, you can completely see where, oh, those 30 faction cards in my faction deck, you know, they're bringing out this deck building ability where you can swap cards out when you buy these expansions, and it's going to change your faction. It's going to change the game dramatically because of the mechanisms, because of how it is designed. You know, it's got that magic element. Not that I've ever played Magic, but where you can build your deck. And I'm looking forward to that because there's a lot of meat in here. They've already got this expansion out called the Leaders, I believe. I haven't played it yet. I'm going to try to get my hands on it. Maybe go through a little run through and review of that as well when I do get my hands on it. Any negative things? Well, negative things. Nope. Well, I mean, with any card game, right, there is the very, you know, unlikely chance that you just draw crappy cards. I mean, you can really not get production cards in the first round, right? Fairly unlikely, and there's always that ability to get more cards, and you can, you know, you can really push to get more cards. But if somebody like got production cards, like in my run through here, the Barbarians just got tons of, way more than they should have, production cards, and they laid them all out, and those production cards, he didn't even need to burn other buildings to build them. So he just built them, and he had this massive, you know, economy rolling away. That can be a problem. How do you resolve that? Like, I mean, card games, that's a problem. That's where Nations comes in. Nations does not have a problem with this. And the reason is because every single card that is drawn in Nations is drafted. There's a big board, anybody can get them. It's, you know, do you want to go for it or not? Nobody starts with, you know, a hand of cards, and that hand of cards might be cruddy. Even Nations, they even have the starting cards printed on the board, so you don't get into a situation like that. This way you could. You could. Does it bother me? Not really. It's even less than Deuce. Deuce has a little bit more of this. I'm sure if you really got a bad hand of cards, it could ruin it for you, but the enjoyment of building your empire is good enough for me, and if you do it well enough, you're going to win. So I really think that is mitigated, so I wouldn't say it's too much of a hit, but with any game where you're drawing cards, you're going to have this same problem. Rating, well, it's a 10 out of 10. Yeah, I put it on the Board Game Geek as a 10 out of 10. We'll see if that changes. We'll see if it, well, it can't go up, but we'll see if it moves down. But right now, I'm enjoying it. It is my top game. I love it. I get it out all the time because you can. It's a heavy Euro civilization game where you can get people to play it. It's easy to play. They like the art. They like the timeline. It's a wonderful game. If you like these kinds of games, civilization games, resource management, production games, economy games, get it. Okay, that's it. If you could give me thumbs up on the video, or if you're interested in any more, you can always check me out at Board Game Nation. And if you want, you can subscribe to my channel. See you later. Have a good night.